How y'all feeling out there? Yeah. So this month has seemed really long, has it not? Is it me? There's 5 Sundays in the month. It just seems like we've been doing June for a long time. And the monthly theme was the art of courage, is the art of courage. And so really talking about how in the season that we're in collectively, the season of unrest, of turbulence, of distress, of conflict, how to have courage, how to have heart during this season, right? And so we've talked about it, and I'm going to do a little bit of a recap before we get into today's talk. So we started out talking about praying up, right? That being the foundational practice, being aligned with the divine, speaking the word from that place of absolute knowing and certainty, right? And staying anchored in your spiritual practice as you move through and navigate through these turbulent times. So that was pray up. And then show up was about showing up as yourself fully, right? Letting all the stuff that is not useful, that is not meaningful, that is not authentic to just fall away and allow your God self to shine, right? To shine and to express uniquely. And what a beautiful thing to be talking about during Pride Month, right? And one of the reasons we had a Pride moment, a Pride insight every single service was to begin to look at how it is part of the natural order, right? It's not something that I don't even like using the word diversity anymore. I say variety, right? If you look at nature, the natural world, the natural order, the way God created us all is as unique individual expressions. Variety is the natural order. All you have to do is look outside, right? Look at the world, look at the animals, look to the natural world, and you see incredible variety. And it's human beings that decide, oh, no, everything has to be like this way or that way, or this person or that person, or this color or that color, right? And so the beautiful thing about showing up and about this being Pride Month is to really, really anchor in that there's only one thing happening and we're all unique expressions of it. And we may look different on the outside. We may think differently. We may behave differently. Our backgrounds, our experiences that shaped us are different. But at the core, when you peel it all back, it's just one life expressing as each of us, right? We disagree on the how of so many things, of how we're going to do things. But at the core, we are all unique expressions of one thing. And so showing up and allowing that to show up more and more and more as us. Right? When we do that, we then are able to speak up. It's really difficult right now for one of the reasons I birthed A Woman's Voice, which is a body of work I've been doing since 1998. But the reason it's emerging now is because it is increasingly difficult for people to speak up, to have the courage to speak up, right? I see it in our spiritual communities. And if we can't speak up, and I'm not talking about telling someone off, getting in someone's face. That's not what I'm talking about. But being able to advocate for yourself, being able to say the true thing even though it's difficult, being able to say something or speak up about something, to speak the truth even if people won't like you, right? So when I look at our spiritual communities and I see, many times covert communication or hidden communication or gossip and back channeling, if we can't do that here, if we can't speak up truthfully here in this safe container, it won't happen in the world, right? The world is a reflection of who we are. And so being able to speak up, and that leads to glowing up. I talked about the glow up last week. And so many times a glow up in pop culture, a glow up is like a makeover, right? It's like you go on a diet, you do all these things so that you're shining, all these external things, and there's nothing wrong with that. And what I talked about last week is a spiritual glow up from the inside out, where again, you are aligning so much with the divine, aligning so much with the presence and the power of God that created you, aligning so much with the light that is the divine spark within you that you have no choice but to shine. And when you shine, others drop their tools and they follow you. They want to know, what are you doing? How many people here have experienced in the last few years of their transformation, because I've seen a lot of transformation happen in this space, in this room. How many people have had someone close to them say, what are you doing? You seem so different. You're responding differently. What is happening? What's going on, right? That is a spiritual glow up. People are noticing your difference, noticing your light. And so the invitation is to radiate even more of it, right? To be a radiant light of God. That's what we've been talking about this month. That's a lot, yes? A big journey. And so now, today, I want to talk about raise up. And I specifically have the talk title be raise up versus rise up, because it's about how do you raise others up, right? How do you have the courage to raise others up, to lift another individual, to inspire, to help someone rise up to the next level, whatever that looks like. Maybe it's spiritually, maybe it's physically, maybe it's mentally, maybe it's emotionally, maybe it's a bit of all of those things, right? But how do you have the courage to raise another up when we live in a world that is filled with cancel culture, right? Rip it down, tear it down, cancel this person, get rid of them, delete, right? Control, Alt, delete. Is that still a thing? Okay. That's back in my pre-Mac days, right? And so the question is, will you be the person who raises others up? Will you be that person to raise others up? Because it takes courage. And I want to be very clear here. Raising someone up, speaking the truth about them, affirming, taking a stand for them. Sometimes it means taking a public stand. Sometimes it means taking a unpopular stand, right? But in doing that, I want to be very clear. I am not talking about not holding people accountable. So I just want to say that up front, right? So what I'm talking about is how do you elevate and support and lift up others, especially right now when everything is about tearing down, criticizing, and some things rightfully so, right? But let's look at that. So if we are here and we're saying, you know what, I'm not going to do the blame game. I'm going to look at how do I elevate? How do I lift people up? There's 3 ways I want you to be thinking about it. So one is in the words that you speak, right? The words that you are speaking life and not death, right? Speaking life and not death. In the science of mind, or in Proverbs actually, it says death and life are in the power of the tongue, right? Death and life are in the power of the tongue, meaning the word you speak, and I think it was Hafiz who says the word you speak becomes the house you live in. Right? It becomes the house you live in. The word you speak, the word is so powerful. The words you use are so powerful, right? It's so powerful. And so one of the things we say in Science of Mind is change your thinking, change your life. Because we know that what we think, right, repeatedly, and then what we say repeatedly becomes the experience that we have. And so part of being able to raise others up is really looking at what am I saying, right? Am I speaking life? And I mean speaking in a variety of ways. What's happening online? What am I posting online? And I want to encourage everyone here, and I've had to be on, I want to stop for a second and say, I've had to be on Facebook a lot more because of this Women's Summit, and we're doing a lot of marketing that has to happen on Facebook. So I'm on there a lot more than I normally am. And so what I see a lot is I see a lot of posting about political things, but it's really preaching to the choir. Right? It's a lot of people posting stuff that to people who already believe what they believe, right? And so what happens when you're just preaching to the choir and then have the angry face and you're putting this stuff out there and you have the sad face and you're putting stuff out there is what you're doing is you're locking in that vibration and that energy that you do not want to experience. What you're doing is actually feeding the algorithm because you're posting the stuff, right? So more eyeballs are on it. You're having a reaction to it with emojis, right? That's feeding the algorithm saying, oh, okay, let's bring more stuff like this. Let's bring more stuff that you don't like. It literally operates like the law, right? Like the law in Science of Mind, right? You're posting what you don't want. Then you have an emoticon, an emoji, an emotion attached to that, right? Which is charging it even more. And then you're sharing it with a bunch of people. And the algorithm goes, oh, okay, you don't like this particular blah, blah, blah. Oh, here's more. Here's more in your feed. Here's more like this. Right? So you're actually creating the energetic that you say you don't want by the words that are on that page, the words that you're energizing. Yes. And I was thinking about during the pandemic, I started very early in the pandemic, I started a prayer group that still exists, actually, called Pray, Pivot, and Prosper. It's on Facebook, a private group. And in that group, people were posting, at the beginning of the pandemic, I don't know if you remember, there was just like, 20,000 people died, da, 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 da. It was like every day a death report. Do y'all remember that? Like every day it was like how many people died. And so I found this thing from the one of the big World Health Organizations, but it was like a countdown globally. And it said how many people had died, but it also said how many people had lived and how many people recovered, right? And how many people were still, right? How many people had COVID and recovered? How many people had COVID and lived, right? It had those numbers. So I started posting those numbers in Pray, Pivot, and Prosper. Any of you who were in that group know, every day I'd put up how many people lived, how many people recovered, right? Not negating that people were dying, but I'm planting the seed of life into this algorithm. Right? So our focus is on, oh, okay, these people are recovering. Oh, this many people are coming back from this. Oh, this is something that we can survive. Oh, we can thrive through this. Are y'all following what I'm saying? Right? And so I just want you to really get that the social media to me is like a big, powerful vision board. Right? It's a big, powerful vision board. And if you are posting stuff there that you would not put on your vision board, don't do it. Right? Because all you're doing is you're planting the seed and the picture of what you don't want. I guarantee you the people who think like you and believe like you, they know what's going on, right? Or one post can tell people what's going on, right? But repeatedly posting and then sharing and posting and smirking and posting and negative and posting and, all that stuff, it's just feeding the algorithm. And we're literally have this massive, massive a vision board that is powered by a tremendous human consciousness. And so we're just participating in manifesting what we don't desire. So my invitation to you this week is to try this, right? In the spirit of raising others up, to post things that are positive. And I don't mean positive thinking, fake spiritual bypass. I don't mean that. I mean, look for some stuff that's good that's happening and post that, right? There is some good political stuff happening, believe it or not. Post that. Charge that up. Share that with your friends. There's some good things that are happening in health and good things are happening in Medicare. Good things are happening in health. Good things are happening in relationships. Good things are happening in politics. Find those things and post them, right? And begin to spread that. That is how you begin to raise up others and raise up the vibration, right? But just staying in the muck and the mire of we all, typically your Facebook folks, for the most part, are people who think the same way as you do, and just staying in the muck and mire, it's just like, what is happening? And this is it's so energized by billions of people. So it manifests like this because of the power behind it. Are y'all following what I'm saying? Yeah? So my invitation to you is to look for things that are meaningful and good in the world. Who's thriving? Who is surviving? Who is flourishing? Who is overcoming? Who is rising up? Who can you raise up? Who is glowing? Who is speaking up? Right? Begin to post those things in your feed. Begin to get that into the algorithm. Put a bunch of emojis on that stuff. Right? And let's see what happens. Right? But that begins to be the first thing is remembering that your word is power. With our word, we speak our life into existence the same way the divine presence spoke the cosmos and the world into existence through the word. The word was the first thing. It is all powerful, right? The word is the repository of the divine presence, of the all that is, of the unfathomable power. The ground of all being is the word. And so we as individuals, as individual expressions, can use the word, right? And the word uses us, and we have free will and choice. So choose the words you're using, whether you're posting online or whether you're speaking, right? Whether you're speaking. And so when you think about, again, speaking life, not death, begin to speak and have conversations about that which is true, capital T, true, and what you desire, right? Because when you are having conversations otherwise, oh, I'm just sick and tired, da, 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 da. Oh my God, I'm just so sick of seeing this. Da, da. Oh, this is, right? Does this sound familiar? Yeah, right? This conversation that we can have with our friends or with ourselves that we have internally. Yes, and the I am is God. It is the God power. It is it is the ground of being. It is God. So anything we put after I am is powerful. We're literally casting a spell. We're literally speaking something into existence. So I am sick. I am tired. I am sick and tired, right? I am over it. I am right? All these things, yes? Versus, perhaps we could say, I am so glad that this madness is coming to an end. I am so glad all this stuff is up for us to see because we're healing it, right? We can affirm something completely different about what we're going through right now. The power of life and death is in the tongue. And there's a reason why there's a lot of programming to make you have certain conversations and to make you think certain things, right? And I'm here to tell you now, liberate your mind. Liberate your mind. Liberate your mind. Shift your words. Shift your thinking. Speak life, not death, right? So that's one way you begin to raise up in a world that is telling us to tear everything down, right? And tear each other down. Are y'all following what I'm saying? Yeah? Okay. Ernest Holmes says, to learn how to think is to learn how to live. Our thoughts shape our world. If our thoughts shape reality, then so do our words and actions. When we speak life, when we affirm, when we bless, we build a better world. We build a better world. So I want you just to be mindful of what you're doing in this week. The second thing in terms of raising others up is to avoid, or to not even avoid, to stand against scapegoating, right? We are in a scapegoating culture. And what that's saying is that people are not taking radical responsibility. People are not holding themselves accountable or being held accountable, right? And when we participate in scapegoating, or when we let it go and let it be, then it just produces more scapegoating, right? It produces more, right? It's their fault, right? They're the problem. Entire groups of people get scapegoated for various things, or an individual person. But here's the thing. If there's only one of us here expressing uniquely, when we blame another, when we scapegoat another, it's really ourselves. And we can't escape it. We can't escape that. Right? If those people over there are doing something, it is because we are part of the collective that supports that. Right? The things we see in the world now are not something new. They're just uncovered. This is not new. Right? The things we're going, oh my God, I see all the time, oh my God, this country is really gone. Are we really this? And it's like, no. This has always been here. It's just out in the open. Right? It's uncovered. So this has always been here, but, collectively we have mass amnesia or mass blindness, mass denial that it doesn't happen. So it just gets bolder and bigger until finally, at some point, the collective has to say enough or not, right? Or not. We obliterate ourselves off the planet. Is the planet's still here? And then, thousands of years, along comes another culture. Yeah. We have free will. Yes. But here's the thing about scapegoating is making sure, and this is the thing that's really tricky about this oneness thing, because it seems like when we see stuff happening out there, it seems so exaggerated, it can't possibly be related to me, right? I am not like that, right? This cannot be related to me. And so the invitation is so just think of it this way. So the big thing that's happening out there is like a big theatrical display of consciousness, right? It's like a big clown show, yes? And so our job is to go within and find the subtleties within our own experience, right? The clown show is getting our attention, right? That's to get our attention to say, hey, wake up. This is what's going on. This is what you're participating in, right? And then the movement is not to go, oh, no, 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 that's not me, that's them. That's not the movement. The move is to go within and go, okay, wait a second. How am I participating in this? Who am I scapegoating? Oh my God, I'm scapegoating myself. I have made myself to blame for this, the reason this didn't happen for that person, and this didn't happen, and that didn't happen, right? Or maybe there's someone else, my parents are to blame. If they had just done whatever, or not done whatever, right? Or my ex-husband took all my money, and now here I am. Are y'all following? Yeah? And so it's really looking for yourself and going, where am I having the energetic of scapegoating? It may not look like the clown car, but it's somewhere existing within, because we all do it. We all do it. We all have something or someone external we are blaming, or as a reason for why we can't be more, can't do more, can't be, something can't be different in our lives. There's something we're holding on to. Sometimes it's hidden or cleverly disguised. But there's something external that we're blaming for why we can't have the life we desire. And so my invitation to you is to really look at that and go, where am I scapegoating? Where am I blaming someone else? Where am I not taking full and radical responsibility for my life, which says that no matter what someone has done, no matter what they're doing, no matter what they're going to do, I have the free will and the personal agency to design my life, to live my life, to create my life, to change my circumstances. That is my power and my right. Right? I am born out of the divine presence. So it doesn't matter what someone else is doing. It doesn't matter what someone else has done. I have the power within myself to change what is happening. I have the power within myself to decide how I will respond. Maybe I can't change the external picture right now, but I can decide how I'm going to respond. And I shared with you all last week that one of the decisions that I have made, and my mom and I talked about this, is with all this crazy stuff going on, and we're at war and all these things. It's like, I am not going to get sucked into that. I'm going to live my life joyfully and fully and completely. I'm swinging for the fences. I am going to live my life inspired and doing things I love and trying to make a difference on the planet and with people that I love. That is what I'm choosing to do. I am not going to be taken down by a bunch of decisions other people are making and the collective is not shifting on yet. Right? And we can each decide to do that, because when we decide to live in joy, when we decide to live in power, when we decide to be empowered, right, and empowered, when we decide to do that, it becomes much more difficult for other forces to take control of us. Right? It becomes much more difficult when we are living aligned with the divine, when we are living out our lives. Yes? I saw something I shared with you all last week that when I'm on social media or different things, or I'm reading something online on the newspapers, I frequently go to the comments, because to me, that's where you get a sense of what is I hear what the pundit is saying, but what are people saying? Where are people in this, right? And I shared with you last week how saddened I felt at how powerless people feel. And it's coming out in the language in a very snarky way. Well, they're going to do this. Well, they're going to drive us over a cliff. What are we going to do? Well, they're going to do, right? There's that kind of feeling a lot, yes? And just last night I was looking at something with someone who's has been a professional colleague in the past, and noticed a statement he said something like, he had lost his job. And he said something like, well, they won't allow us to do, when they allowed us to do this kind of work, and now they're not allowing it. And I was struck by that language, because I know this individual, and I was so struck by the word allow, right? Allow means there's a human power that has granted you something that now has taken it away from you. That's a very interesting word to use, and I was shocked. This is a very accomplished person on a public stage. And when I saw those words, I thought, what are you talking about? That they allowed you to do something, and now they've taken it away from you. Like that is a powerless place. Yeah, are y'all following what I'm saying? Right, that is a powerless place. And so, yes, you had this role and this job, and yes, now it is gone. And so what if we move into what would God have me do, right? Because God is the final word and the only power and the only presence. And so maybe that thing was coming to an end, and this, the people who ended it were part of that process. But the powerful thing is, okay, God, what's next? Okay, God, what is your idea for my life? Because you created me. You created me out of your image and likeness. You have an idea for me. You have a purpose for me. You have a plan for me. You made me uniquely for that purpose, right? And so when we get aligned with that, there is no power over. There is no power over, because you're answering to the divine presence. Right? When I left the previous community I was in, it was because, you know what? I'm complete here. I am done. Yeah? And Spirit has something else for me to do with my unique tools and my unique gifts. I didn't know it was going to happen that way, but that's what it is. And now I'm done. And now I'm here. But there's no power over. That's not what it is. I work for God. Right? I work for God. So whatever that is, that's what I'm going to do. Yes? And so the more we get aligned with the power that cannot be shaken, then the more we can navigate through the changes in the world that are going to happen. But when we think and have in our consciousness, oh, they've allowed us to do this and they've given us this, and we're riding that energetic, human beings are interesting creatures, right? We're interesting creatures. Things change, right? People you think are solid change. People who you didn't know were in your corner, here they are, right? Things change, but you have to be aligned with the divine to navigate through all the changes that will happen. Yes? Okay. So that was number 2, which was what? Stand against scapegoating. I turned the corner a little bit, but, stay with me, y'all. I go on a little adventure sometimes. All right. So here's my last thing. The third thing is, so here's your coaching move for the week also, to look at where are you scapegoating, right? Where are you blaming someone, some circumstance, or yourself for something, and go ahead and let yourself off the hook, right? Let yourself off the hook. Let yourself off the hook. Yeah. All right, so the third thing and final thing is to really look at being a builder and not a critic. Right, being a builder. This is the other thing I find very interesting looking at social media and just media, the media landscape. If I see one more post that says, so-and-so clapped back at the president, da-da-da-da, and so-and-so eviscerated, da-da-da-da, and so-and-so said this and told this person off. And so it's like, what on earth? What are we even talking about? What is the solution? Who's proposing solutions? I don't want somebody to give a smart response to somebody saying something. I don't care, right? Let's generate some kind of, let's be generative. Let's look at, okay, yeah, this stuff is happening. Here's a way we can respond. Here's what we can do. Here's what's possible. Here's what we can build. Here's how we can come to, right? This has power in it. But to see all the pundits, everyone's just talking about the problem. They reiterate the problem. They rework the problem. They analyze the problem. They come on different positions about the problem. They look at different languages to talk about the problems, right? And what happens when you do focus that much on problems? You create more problems, right? How many times have you actually heard someone or read something recently? How many times have you heard someone on TV or read something where somebody was offering a solution or what could be done? Raise your hand if you've heard it once. Okay, raise your hand if you've heard it more than 5 times.
On your channel.
Huh?
On your channel.
On my channel. Right, but I mean in the larger media, right? Or on Facebook, how frequently do you see a post that says, hey, here's a way this could go. Here's what we can do. Here's a solution. There always is like, da-da-da-da, this is happening, da-da-da-da, this is happening, oh my God, this is happening, alarm, alarm, alert, alert, this is happening, but no one says, hey, let's do this, right? Hey, here's what we can do. Hey, here's what's happening, and here's a possible workaround. Because everything is focused on the problem and yelling about the problem. It would be like if this room was on fire, we all stood in here with the fire going, the room is on fire, the room is on fire, the room is on fire, the room is on fire. And then over there, someone said it in French, right? La Salle, whatever. I can't even think of it in French, right? And then somebody said over here in Spanish. And then somebody over here got on their knees and said, the room is on fire. Then Damon starts singing, the room is on fire, right? And the band starts playing the song, the room is on fire, the room is on fire, right? It's like, yeah, we're standing in the room on fire, yelling that it's on fire. And no one is saying, hey, take a deep breath, everybody. There's 3 doors here. Yeah, first 2 rows go out of that door, middle rows go out of that door, back row go out of that. Right? No one's saying that. Right? No one's saying that. But we're posting on Facebook, on fire, we're 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 on fire. And no one's saying, here's the exit. No one's saying where the hoses are. No one's saying, and these are the people who would know. The people who know are not telling us where the hose is. Where's the water? How do we call the fire department? Are there other ways to extinguish this fire? Right? No one's talking about this. But no one's talking about it because we're focused on the problem and we're clicking on the problem and we're amplifying the problem, which makes a lot of money when we are clicking on the problem, posting the problem, it makes a lot of money. So then the newspapers and media keep posting the problem. Yeah? So start posting. When you see something that's a solution, do it far and wide. When you see something that's positive, spread it far and wide. Right? Flip the algorithm. Flip the algorithm. Because this is what's going to support us in having a different outcome and being a builder and not just a critic. Right? Being a builder, not just a critic. I meant to write down this website I found, Reverend Dr. Kathy Ann Lewis in Seattle, in the Seattle CSL, shared on the Ministers Listserv. Oh my goodness, I think the organization is called the Builders Movement. I don't know, I'll put it in if you're signed up for our weekly newsletter email, I'll send out the link to you. But I think it's called the Builders Movement, and it's people gathered together looking for solutions. Right? And I want our community to be a part of that. What is this? What are some solutions? Right? And starting with the spiritual solution, which is in really thinking about for yourself and knowing the oneness of all life, right? The solution is speaking life and not death. The solution is not scapegoating. The solution is all of these things becoming a builder and not a critic. Right? And all the things we talked about this month require courage because the world is not built for what we're about yet, right? The world is built for a collective to be powerless, to be at each other's throats, to be competing, and to be in a state of constant anxiety and overwhelm with all the electronics and all the things and all the media. That's what the world is built for right now. Yes. And so our job, our call, is to be courageous in the face of all of that. Unplug, or if you're plugged in, plug positive things in there, right? Do your spiritual practice. I say this every single week. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. If you are not aligned with the divine, you will be aligned with chaos. There's no way around it, right? And so you can choose. Right? But if you align with chaos, it creates a lot of other disturbances, which is why Peter Bedard, when he's here, July 13th, will be talking about how to maintain and protect the sacredness of your mental health in these crazy times. I hope you will come. Peter has an incredible story. Incredible story. He was in a car accident, died in a significant accident with a semi-truck. He died and came back. And he's written a couple of books that have come from that. He healed himself from the horrific injuries he had. You wouldn't know it to see him now and talk to him now. And he's super dynamic. And he's a counselor and a therapist and a coach. So he'll be here on July 13th. He will help you with some tools to get your mental health in alignment, right? You already have the tools for your spiritual health to be in alignment. Right? And it takes courage to do all of this. And so I invite you into that. Deal? Yes. Okay. I feel like we're complete. Yeah? Let's go into prayer.